So this was supposed to be a sort of review on Dissidia NT, and it became some sort of discussion instead. Now I know I said I would fulfill that quota by making a review instead of some sort of discussion, but it went from becoming a review to a review discussion after playing the game longer and actually playing it how it wants me to play. Dissidia NT is not the game that other players from the OG titles would expect. They can't play it the same way, they have to play it a different kind of style. But at the same time, where the creators say they wanted this to be esports ready, I really have to decline that, seeing how the game is not esports friendly. So I had a lot of judgment for this game. I really got ticked off when it came to the streams. A lot of people would have saw my attitude and thought, man, this guy really doesn't know how to play. So I took the mindset of 1v1 out of my brain and made it just 3v3. And that was a big change. There are a whole bunch of aspects in this game that I do want to get into, and I think this is just going to be one of those things where I will be letting out everything on you guys. I want to give you everything that I think about Dissidia NT, being a person who was a fan of the original OG titles. So instead of me ranting all day about it, I'll give you everything I got.
Sloppy.
So let's start with where it came from. So the game was created by Tetsuya Nomura, who wanted to create yet another Kingdom Hearts spin-off. Like, we don't have enough of those! So he originally decided against this because he didn't want Disney characters fighting each other. Well, I mean, Disney characters fight each other all the time in the movies, so I don't get this. I guess it's because Mickey Mouse doesn't need to get his ass kicked. He then had Takeshi Urakawa rework the game into a Final Fantasy fighting game where you had mainly the 10 mainstay heroes against them 10 mainstay villains, or it doesn't matter, you can fight whoever you want with another. They also had Shantoto and Gabranth in there, which was actually pretty neat. It became a game that became the 20th anniversary of Final Fantasy, which I thought was a good way to put it. The story, on the other hand, was very complicated, and was actually the mainstay of the game. You had these two gods fighting against each other, cycles going over and over, had some big giant entity sucking the life and energy out of the ones who have died during these cycles. People get revived, the ones who lost the fight lose their memories, making the ones who won have an advantage. It was kind of a whole system of like Kingdom Hearts trope kind of thing. I can't really describe it. I just know that Dissidia had a complicated story and not a lot of people can keep up with it, and it's not very memorable, which is a shame because it kind of connects to Final Fantasy 1. In the new game, Dissidia NT, they kind of went towards the future, where all the characters are a bit older, they're a bit wiser, and now they're not just going to follow the gods to the battlefield, they now question them.
A very specific type of energy born of battle. Despite the best of my efforts, however, I have yet to produce it myself. Thus,
you gathered us here completely out of the blue and against our will.
Yes.
So that we'd fight each other?
Yes.
No.
Leave it to a god to just do as they please.
Let us forget the means for a moment. You wish us to help you preserve harmony in this world, do you not?
Well,
Well, what?
yes.
Everybody remembers the last conflict. Everybody remembers that this is the world that they fought in before. They remember the cycles, and they remember the shit that they had to go through, so now they're going on an adventure to find out what's really going on in this world. Less it to say, not even the gods knew what was going on. They were fairly new. They were actually created by Cosmos to keep the world alive in her dying breath, I guess. I don't know. Cosmos does some shit sometimes that you really don't know. Like how she sacrificed her powers to her heroes to end the conflict, which was good, just, you know, she just did it. In this case, the two new gods, Materia and Spiritus, wanted to keep the world alive via conflict. So battle was the main power source for the world to stay alive, and they needed warriors to do so. And at first they brought warriors from other worlds to fight each other, but now it's them against each other, Spiritus and Materia. It's a weird, confusing story, but it's very short. Very, very short. Because at the end of the day, some giant serpent thing, who we all know, comes out, absorbs and eats the energy anyway, and they have to deal with that. That's the story, basically. Suffice it to say, the story is short, but going through it is not short, seeing how you have to pay your way just to go through it. There are these things called memoria, which you use to pay your way through the story. You get these by leveling up your player level. Leveling up your player level will reap you the rewards of treasure, gil, and memoria until level 30, where it stops and everything slows down. Now, you do have your fair share of battles in the story mode. You'll fight other characters, for which goes alongside with the story, except for some points where Kefka could be here and now he's here. I never really got that, but yeah, that did happen.
Kill me now.
Some characters you would expect to be there does not show up, like Golbez for some reason. Again, not sure why that happened. And one of the biggest battles in the game, which I just think ruins the story for me, are the boss battles where you have to fight the summons. Yeah, I get it. Fighting boss battles is huge, as the summon should be a spectacle. It's just not for me. I can't stand it. I hate the summon boss battles. They have too much on their plate that makes them overpowered, and fighting against them is just annoying. I never had a good time fighting against any summons in this game. But that's the only downside with the story, other than it being very short and the summon battles being stupid. The story's not so bad. But the story is the story. What we want to talk about is the battle system and how I feel that this game presents itself. This game is actually an arcade game that's ported to the console. They freshened it up a bit, they made the UI a lot better from what I saw, and I do like how the battle system did change. Originally from the OG Dissidia, you had HP and bravery attacks. If you want to know more about that, well, they do say it in the tutorials. You go ahead and fight people by taking and stealing their bravery. Their bravery is what they use to do an actual attack called an HP attack, which, though it has a slower windup, is big, flashy, and will fuck you up. The biggest difference here is that the OG Dissidia title had a bit of a broken system when it came to bravery and HP. They had bravery into HP attacks, and then there was their assist, which you only really used 4 or 1 if you use Jekt from Duodecim, and there you go. That was basically Dissidia. It was a broken system, it was a fun game, but it was still a broken fighting system, and I could see why they changed it into NT. So don't get me wrong, I do like the battle system in Dissidia NT. It's just, there's just a lot of things that wasn't executed well. What I do like, though, is that the bravery attacks are locked in place and you can't change it. Now, a lot of people will go against this. Having the ability to change your bravery attacks to a certain situation on whatever battle you're doing was a fun thing to do in the OG Dissidia, but in a fighting game, that is broken, and I completely understand why they went with that path. If you could change your bravery attack to something else that makes the character even more broken, the character, the game, and everything around it would just break under their feet. So seeing how that their braveries are now locked in place, I think that's a good thing. Along with their HP attacks, I know there's been a lot of complaints about how HP attacks is just a one and done thing, but I think that is also a good thing. Seeing how HP attacks can be spammed in the OG Dissidia titles. The one character in this game that does have the old Dissidia trope is Vaughn, who has 2 HP attacks, 6 that you could choose from, but has very shitty bravery attack. And if you want to see how broken a character can be with just spamming HP all day, you should play Vaughn, because he can be a bitch.
Vaughn is a dark horse in this game, and by that I mean god, he's surprisingly popular in arcade. I mean, he even got the first place in the pick rate poll once. How the hell can he beat these 4 horsemen of Final Fantasy? What is his bravery attack? Who gives a crap? He only got 5 of them and it's all mediocre anyway. You can just broke the X button on your controller and you still win the game.
Less it to say, the battle system itself I do agree with, and I do agree with them locking the bravery in place, and I do agree with 1 HP at a time. It does keep some sort of balance, but the game in its execution, like I said before, isn't really rung up to have this kind of system in mind. So one of the new things about this battle system is the wall rush mechanic. You can do bravery attacks out the butt until they hit a wall or the floor. You go ahead and rush towards them, and the way you do that is by dash canceling. Everyone can do it. They can dash cancel out of their end animation of their bravery attack. Sephiroth can just do it faster, and Jekt can just cancel out of his attacks when he wants to. This is actually something I do appreciate. You can have somebody hit the wall and you continue a bravery or an HP attack. However, there is one thing that they did miss, is that when they do get hit towards the wall, and they do get hit towards the wall again, if it's a bravery attack or an HP attack, sometimes they cannot escape from another attack or an HP attack. There is no invincibility frames between that, and sometimes they can just get locked and bombarded by another character or another player, and this is the flaw with this battle system here. This game heavily insists on 3v3 combat, so whenever you're fighting, you'll have 2 computers or 2 real people behind you. They took out the assist for this, and I completely appreciate that. However, there is the human factor in this, and there are a lot of people who are switching from Dissidia who still have that 1v1 track mind. Now, I would have liked it if they had the option to have 1v1 or 2v2, but they don't. They only have 3v3, and they really want that to be a thing. Now, the problem with this is that 3v3 can be a clusterfuck, seeing how when you do get wall rushed, you're stuck there, and there lies the problem. When you're stuck there, you can get bombarded by all of the other players. All 3 of them, they can fuck your day up. Maybe you didn't see the person who's attacking you because you're attacking just as well. You're about to do an HP attack, you get stomped, you get put into the wall, and now you're stuck there. Now everyone is fucking you up, and you're wondering where your teammates are. Well, they're either incapacitated, or they're trying to go after the crystal, or they just don't give a fuck. That's the problem. The human factor in Dissidia NT is what really teeters on the edge of this being an actual good fighting game to just being a blasé arcade game. And I'm not trying to, make ill of this game. I'm just saying that the human factor is a very chaotic variable for this game. When you have a fight where you're just getting bombarded by other players and nobody's there to help, or even if they do try to help, they're not helping in the way that you think they would. They're going after the crystal, they're summoning because they think with the 20 seconds a summon comes out, and you get that little bit of advantage with whatever the summons provide you, which is a good thing. I do like that. I do like that when you do summon, and if you're summoning correctly, like how if somebody is summoning and all 3 people are summoning, it's like an insta-cast. When it was 2 people, it just goes faster, and the summon comes out and they give you kind of a boon. That boon, pre and post, does help in a sort of way the party to giving them an advantage. Like Alexander, who is my favorite, gives you an HP boon, and then when he's out and done and does his post stuff, he goes ahead and gives you a defense up, and I really do like that. However, summons will only stay on the field for, like I said, 20 seconds, and the only thing that you can really do is dodge out the way. And it's not very hard with most of the summons, honestly. You can just dodge out of the way of their shit, and you're good as gold. But the thing here is that people will put in a lot of effort to get that summon out, and honestly, I think when they get their summon out, they think they're good as gold. They think they've won, but that's not the point here. If the guy is really good at the game, and he's kicking your ass beforehand, he dodges all the summons, and comes back to kick your ass again, then there's no real reason to summon, honestly. And I'm not saying don't summon. Go ahead and summon, but when you look out there in the field and you see somebody who has kill bravery percentage, maybe it's time to go after that guy, lower him, then summon, something to that nature. Or maybe not go after the crystal. Yeah, I know it's tantalizing, right? But that guy still has kill percentage. You might want to go and help your party out. Saving your party from, I don't know, that guy who has 5,000 bravery, I think is more important than summoning. And, well, I guess that's the human factor for you. In a lot of the matches I've been in, there have been people who prioritize 1v1 aspects, and it's happened to me a lot. They'll go after me, they'll go after that guy, they'll gang up on that person over there, or they'll gang up on me. And the thing here is that I understand, you want to kill me, but let me just tell you that the people that are really adamant in trying to get you with the 1v1 mindset usually end up getting broken in the back, or they're just plain annoying on the field, seeing that 1v1 doesn't work for the game anymore, and I've completely just taken that out of my mind. When I got rid of the 1v1 mindset and went to 3v3, or hey, I have party members this time, I looked back and I saw maybe I should help them out with something. This game taught me that you have to throw out the OG Dissidia mindset, because you have a party now, you have a team, you have to make sure that someone's alive, you gotta make sure that someone is putting out the boon or debuffing the enemies, someone has to go after the crystal, people have to collaborate in order to summon. This is a team game. However, the aspect of still getting ganged up on really does suck. I don't like ganging up on people, but there it is, it's in the game, you can do it. And at the same time, it happens to me a lot, and it's hard to escape from that. Nobody really wants to be ganged up on, but it happens a lot in Dissidia NT, and I'm pretty sure the game really rewards the person who does it, because you're pretty much saving the skin of your buddy. But at the same time, if you are going after that one person, the person you were fighting before may have gone over to your buddy on the other side of the field. So it could be like one of those scenarios where it's 2v1, 2v1, and you're like, alright, who's going to kill that one lone guy first? Those scenarios is kind of chaotic for it to being a fighting game, which is the reason why I don't think it can actually fit as an esports title. I mean, sure, it's a fun game, but competitive? Not really, unless you're just working with pure teams. I mean, yeah, the game was created with that in mind, but still the execution didn't pull off very well. You have people ganging up on other people, and for some reason, some Joe Schmo on the other side, while you're getting bombarded by 3 different people, is going after the crystal. Like, what the fuck? But again, I like how they did the battle system. I like what they did. I like the bravery, the HP system. However, when someone is incapacitated, maybe a boon could be shared among the 2 others who are still alive or something. There is no advantage for anybody just dying for 15 seconds. But then again, I guess that's the strategy. Seeing how we're going to go with Overwatch as an example here, when somebody is knocked out for, I'm not sure, maybe a total of 10 seconds and they have to go to the rest of their team so that they can make it. I guess it's kind of related to that. However, this is not that. This is not Overwatch. This is a fighting game where I can be Garland and I can shoot a tornado at somebody from a distance and they could be fucked because of that. Yeah, it's just like that. It's a disadvantage on their side, but I guess I'm taking advantage of the game because that's how the game wants me to play. So in all, yeah, I really do like Dissidia NT. I like what they did with this. I do like what they did with the battle system. However, it lacks a lot of substance. There isn't much to it when it comes to the game's story, so don't look forward to the story. You really don't have to complete it. The game is not for the story, it's for the game itself. And the reward system isn't that bad, but it's not that good. I do like the fact that this loot box system is in-game currency. We can go to the shop, or if you get doubles of a certain item, it turns into money, which you could spend at the shop. However, what you're getting here is icons, music, which is good, but not enough from the OG title, and I don't know why. You get quotes from the characters that can say it while you're playing the game, and then there's the skins. Now, they don't have a lot of skins. They get like a couple skins for the weapons, and they get like 5 skins for the character itself, although it's like retextured and recolored skins of the same thing, and there's only like 2 varieties here. I do like the UI compared to the arcade mode, seeing how everything is clean and you can see everything, and this minimap in the corner is actually something very important when you're in battle. However, the most important thing in this game, which I think they lack, is a proper teaching tool of how to play the characters. Not the game, but the characters themselves. You don't know what their unique abilities are. You have to go online to figure that out. And that is a problem for me.
Welcome to Dissidia Turbo Guide!
If I have to go online, if I have to go to Google to figure out that the Warrior of Light's unique EX skill, which by the way is kind of very dangerous to use because he doesn't get like a buff or boon for this, and basically he does a provoke to everybody in the area, then you would have just done it and you're like, what does it do? And there you go. The game doesn't teach you how to use any of their unique abilities. It doesn't teach you that Sephiroth has a perfect dash cancel and he can just cancel out of a lot of his shit and he can get an early dash to go after the enemy. It doesn't tell you that the more that Garland fights and beats the shit out of somebody, he gets stronger and stronger. The game does not tell you that Bart's is actually pretty fucking obvious, that the more he uses his moves and has it hit somebody, the more he's mastering it. It doesn't tell you that. It doesn't tell you any of that at all. The lack of substance in this game really brings the game down. You can tell me that fighting games don't need story and all that other fancy shit to be a fighting game, but then again, Dragon Ball FighterZ does still have a story, though it's inconsequential and you don't need to do it. It still has one and it's still pretty full. And I do like the fact that they put full cutscenes in here that you can see what's going on in the story. That's a lot of fucking work, and I do appreciate that. However, there is still a lack of substance here. The core battle is kind of fucking broken if you're playing with the right character, Furion or Y'shtola. And the reason why I didn't talk about the core battles is because, yet again, it is inconsequential, and you don't really need to know about the core battles, because you're not going to be in the core battles. You're probably never going to touch the core battles. You're probably never going to touch the summon battles ever again. You'll probably touch the character battles, because it does teach you some shit when you face them at Nightmare or Chaos level, and trust me, they will kick your ass. You're only really going to be playing this game for one thing and one thing only, and that's online ranking, which you can play by yourself or with a party. And trust me, when you play with a party, it does take a little bit of a while, but it has this thing where if you're only playing with one other friend, so it's just two of you, it's automatically solo. However, you get a third person in there, then it becomes party, and then it becomes a little bit longer to match up with somebody or some people because they're trying to match up with a whole nother person. Which, by the way, there's a giant complaint here when it comes to online, and that is the net coding. It kind of fucking sucks. Don't know why Square went with this, but I don't think they should have given us hosting when it comes to online shit in the United States of America.
Cling to your sanity while you can.
My training commences.
Wait, they have to send data? I didn't leave the match! I get punished for fucking Square Enix bullshit! Oh! Thanks, Square! You're wonderful! You piece of fucking shit! Why is that my fault? Why is that my fault? That is clearly not my fault! You pieces of shit! You pieces of shit! It's clearly not my fault.
Choose your
Pieces
character,
of utter garbage. What the hell? This is your netcode at work, goddammit. Your netcode, not mine. Yours. You piece of fucking shit. Square, fix your shit. Fix your netcoding. That was bullshit. We are at a time where in the US, we have the worst internet in the world. The worst. The worst. And Square decides to give us that. Hosting, which gives us these laggy, slow gameplay, these matches that suck, and we have to feel the consequences of losing our rank and our points because the shitty game happened to shit up because our online fucking sucks and we can't do anything about it. I have high-speed internet. I pay a lot for my internet, but it still gets fucked because the hosting on somebody else's end, their internet is fucked, and we have to pay the consequences for that. Not only that, but there's this idea of putting computers in online ranking when you can't find somebody? Don't know why they decide to do that. That's a bad idea. You can't depend on computers whatsoever. They're stupid. They're dumb. Their AI is completely stupid. They won't help you. Sometimes they wander around the field like complete idiots. What are they there for? To fill in the spot. And they will lose the game for you. Why did you put computers in online ranking? Why did you do this? So the game is really made for everyone and not just for the OG Dissidia players out there. You have to take your mind away from that and go with the new aspect of this being a very different game. You can't come to this game thinking that you'll play the same way. It just doesn't work. The game's fun. I love playing the game. And when I'm sitting there playing the game the way it wants to be played, I'm having a great time whether I win or lose. And back in the past in my streams I would yell and complain about it, but that's only because I had the same mindset of it being the OG Dissidia title. I had to take it out of my mind, you know? And then here, well, yeah, there's still a lot of problems. The whole getting gang raped and this netcoding bullshit and the summon battles. Oh god, the summon battles. Fuck the summon battles. You don't need to do the summon battles. Don't ever put out your time to just do the story mode unless you really want that achievement and that title and you like punishing yourself. Yeah, go for it, but it's really bad. It's really bad. Don't do the summon battles. Other than that, the game is great. The game is fun, but I'd wait for a price drop, especially for you OG Dissidia players out there. Wait for a price drop or go ahead and get the game and see how it is to get yourself busted up against the wall because there is unfair advantage in certain attacks. Just make sure sure that you're not thinking in the minds of the OG style, and make sure to just go after anyone you see. That's how this game works. And for everybody else, I'd suggest still waiting for that price drop, $40, $50 or something like that. It's not worth buying right now, especially not over Dragon Ball FighterZ or Monster Hunter World. But the one thing I'm going to do is thank the game for giving me a proper rating system. The ranking system on the online portion of this game really did give me an idea. You start from bronze and you go all the way up to crystal. Well, I'm going to use that to rate my games now. I'm going to give a game either the lowest possible, and we're going to add an extra metal here, which is copper, or the highest possible, which is crystal, and I think I'm going to give Dissidia NT Mithril, kind of a mid-upper tier kind of rating, where Mithril is a very shiny and very good looking piece of metal. It still has its flaws and it doesn't beat out as being the best kind of resource to use. Dissidia is a good pastime game. It's a good fighting game if you don't want to play seriously. It's a good non-competitive arcade style fighting game that I do appreciate for trying to bring back something that I loved in the past, and I completely appreciate it. There are still flaws in the game that I can't look past, like the netcoding. It's atrocious. Why give us a host of hosts when we know you have servers, Square? You have Final Fantasy XIV. Give us servers. Getting ganged up on in battle is still a problem for me, because a lot of my friends actually played the game and put it down because they got beat up by 2 other people or 3 other people, and it sucks. Nobody likes to get ganged up on, and you have to think about the new people who are coming from the OG Dissidia or just plain new to the series, and they just want to play and they get busted up by 2 or 3 different people. They don't know the game as much, and the game doesn't tell you how to avoid all this. The game doesn't give you anything to avoid this, it's just there. And a lack of microtransaction is still a great thing, and I like this, but the rewards is a bit lacking. You have a shit ton of icons, which you're not really going to use. You have skins, which is not much. You have music, which is not all that great. I'm not really for the new arranged titles of these pieces of music. I'd rather have the ones from the OG Dissidia, or, you know, better orchestrated ones, and honestly, it's a little lackluster. I hope they put more in terms of reward into the game. And yes, I know, before you tell me, I know there's old pieces of music from the OG Dissidia that are in here, but it's not enough of them, and that's what I mean. And that's it. That's basically my review on Dissidia Final Fantasy NT. I like the game. I keep going back into it. I like playing it. I really do. I'll play it every day. It's just that if it wants to be an esports ready game, there's a lot of flaws that it needs to fix. There's a lot of things that needs to be tweaked, and I know that they put in a ton of time putting in those patches, but it's still not ready yet. It's not ready to be competitive, and that's my thought on it. I love the game, a lot of people should play it, it's just that beware, for you OG players out there, this isn't the same Dissidia that you once knew. It's very different, and for you new fighters out there, well, get ready to experience what a 3-way feels like. And for the rest of you people out there, thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed. This is my first review on this channel officially. So let me know in the comments below what you think about Dissidia NT. Do you love the game? Do you hate the game? What's your opinion on it? Let me know in the comments below. In the meantime, you can check my channel if you want to. If you have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe so you can pick up my feed. And also, I stream a lot. I stream a lot of this game too, but I stream a lot, mainly Final Fantasy XIV. By the way, lore is coming up next, so get ready for that. See you in the next video, guys. Take care.